On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, we talk about the best whiskey room ever. Hey guys, welcome back to the Whiskey Tornado. All right, it might not be the best whiskey room ever, but I want to share with you guys my new bourbon and whiskey room since it's completed. I want to tell you guys what my objective was in building it the way I built it. Also, I want to tell you guys what makes a great whiskey or bourbon room. And then as we go through this, I'm going to let you guys know what color paint I used, where I got the chairs, how big the piping is for the shelving, all those things that you guys are constantly asking me since you've started to see my reviews in the new bourbon room. All right, first things first, let's talk about my main objectives when creating the greatest whiskey room ever. As a whiskey tuber, somebody who reviews whiskey, I had a small space. This is an 11 by 11 room. And I needed it to have as many sets as possible. So my idea was to have a set for live streams where the camera's directly in front of the bar, and when I shoot straight, all you see behind me are bottles. My second set, I wanted to be caddy corner, just like you see now, to do reviews on, where you see partially part of the wallpaper, part of the chairs, part of the bar. And then third, I wanted a third set where you shoot straight towards the wallpaper and the chairs, more of like a podcast interview style if someone was over and we were going to shoot a podcast. And my last objective was to have those three sets all while making this look good from the living room that my wife sits in often, because this is just off of my living room. So it needed to be aesthetically pleasing. Now, my initial idea, which grew to fruition, was to have a lodge, man cave / 1920s kind of vibe. And I didn't know how all of those things would work together, but as you can see, I think it turned out really nice. It looks manly, it looks cozy, the wallpaper brings a little bit of Prohibition 1920s feel to the room. Now, in addition to making it aesthetically pleasing, I wanted it to have some shock and awe when you walk into the room. The bar does that. It's on a back wall. And as you walk around the corner of my house into this room, at first you cannot see the bar, but when you walk in and you see the shelves of bottles, everybody is instantly impressed. While I wanted some shock and awe, I also had to have a place where I could relax, and that meant 2 recliners. I needed a place where I could kick my feet up and enjoy bourbon, a place where I could watch TV, but a place where I could also retract to be by myself and just listen to music and have a few pours of bourbon if I needed to relax. And then the last thing I needed for the perfect whiskey room was it just had to have touches of me and had to have meaning and had to have significance. Now, as you walk in the French doors and turn to your right, there is an Elijah Craig barrel in the corner. That barrel is from our first Elijah Craig barrel proof pick for Barrels for Hope, which is a charity organization myself and Stuffin' Whiskey and Dusty Dan and a guy named Joe Carter started. We're going to be donating at minimum $40,000 to charity from that organization, so it has a huge place in my heart. That barrel is not going to stay in my bourbon room though. We're probably going to do something with it at our year-end event, but right now it's in the corner of my bourbon room. And I have some special things on it. I have a bottle of Pappy 15. It's a bottle that myself and my uncle and some other family members drank at my daughter's wedding. Very special bottle to me. I also have a picture of my wife's grandfather on there, who looks like just an Italian pimp, if we're being honest. I also have the Old Fitz 19 and 17 decanters, which I shared with many Patreon members and have a lot of good memories around. And then I have one of the old Chessman pieces on there, and also an old Polaroid camera that is in a senior picture that I took of my daughter. Just above that barrel is a picture I took at a Maker's Mark Rick House. The lighting was perfect. Everything about that picture is perfect. I love it. And just to the right of that is a picture I took of one of our first Patreon members, Ed Sturgar, holding up a glass at our first visit to Hard Truth. So again, just that one little corner has incredible significance and meaning to me, and makes me love the bourbon room all that much more. Now, as we walk around to the left, there are 2 doors. Now, I have a separate patio out there, which I'm going to turn into like a outdoor kind of cigar lounge for people that come over and want to smoke cigars. I personally don't like cigars, but I have a lot of friends that do. So that'll be a place where they can go do that. Above the doors is our Whiskey Tornado sign that you see in a lot of reviews, which I love as well. To the left of that, we have 2 pictures that I just printed off of the internet and had printed at Walgreens and then got cheap Walmart frames. The first one is of the Charlie Burger gang, which is a gang where I grew up. They were involved in one of the first aerial bombings in the United States. Also, he was the last person hung in Illinois for attempted murder on a mayor. You can read the book Bloody Williamson. Talks all about the Charlie Burger and Shelton Brothers gangs, which are gangs where I grew up in the 1920s. Just below that is one of my favorite pictures. It's just a bunch of old hags holding a sign that says, "Lips that touch liquor shall not touch ours." And I just love it because they, it's like they think someone would want to kiss them. I don't even know if that's a real picture, but I've always loved it, so I printed that up, and we have that up on the wall. Now, the black that you see painted on the walls is a color called cracked pepper, which I got. It's a bear color that I got at Home Depot, but it turned out really nice. It's black, but almost has like a grayish blue tint to it as well. Now, as we pan around to the left to the podcast set, you'll see that I put wallpaper on the walls, and I found that on Amazon. It's just peel and stick wallpaper, but it has that 1920s vibe. I love it. I think it looks perfect. I actually hung the wallpaper upside down. It just looked better to me, more aesthetically pleasing. And then I put 2 deer that were special to me on special hunts with some friends a long time ago on that wall. They're not the biggest deer, they're not impressive, but they hold a lot of meaning to me for various reasons that I won't bore you with. But I love having those on that wall. Now, the barrel directly behind me is that barrel from an Elijah Craig pick we did with my buddy Narav on his birthday during Derby week with Bernie Lubbers. For those of you who don't know Bernie Lubbers, you need to search him. He does a lot of bottled and bond stuff for Heaven Hill, brand ambassador, wonderful guy. And he was on that pick with us, and it's still one of my favorite bottles of Elijah Craig barrel proof that I've had. And that is the barrel from that pick, signed by Bernie and Narav and a bunch of other guys that went with us. So that barrel means a lot to me. On top of that, I have our Barrels for Hope, our charity organization's picks that we've done so far this year, and also an American flag that was given to me by Sergey, who is in Space Force. And so that is incredibly special to me. Again, we're having all these things that, while the bourbon is great, it's more about the relationships and the relationships you build and the people you meet, which is the theme of the last couple weeks here on the Whiskey Tornado. So when you design your bourbon room, make it specific to you, make it special to you. All right, as we move around to the shelves, the coup de grace, as they say, the thing everyone wants to know about. Those are 3/4 inch pipes. I have 18 inches on the risers, and then the depth is 10 inches to the wall. And then I have 4 10-foot boards that run all the way down. And that gives me enough room for 2 layers of bottles. And then I have Philips Hue LED lighting down the middle. Now, what I did with the piping was I cleaned those off when I got them, and then just used flat chalkboard paint, and it just looked really good. It stuck to the metal really well. Just painted those with flat black chalkboard paint to give it that flat look that kind of matched the walls. And then we just have a channel down the backside of the wall that you can't see that hides all of those cords to just make it more aesthetically pleasing. And then the last thing in the room is just a 50-inch TV, not anything special. It was a $250 TV at Best Buy, but it's above the French doors that angles down towards the recliners. Again, I can put music on there. I can sit down and relax and watch a movie or watch a football game. If a buddy comes over, I've got 2 recliners in here. And I think all of those touches, from it being aesthetically pleasing, from me having 3 sets for my Whiskey Tube channel, to it having meaningful things in here, make it the best whiskey and bourbon room for me. If you guys are interested in where I got the wallpaper, I will put the links in the description below. If you're interested in where I got the recliners, I will also put those in the description below. The recliners were only like $350. I got them at Walmart. I don't know how they're gonna last, but for right now they look great. We'll see how that goes. But anything that you guys are interested in this room, I will put in the description below. The important thing is to just make your whiskey room your own. Put a little thought and time into it, and then splash some meaningful things around the room so that when you sit in here, you can sit back, really be proud of it, but most importantly, just be a place where you can kick back and relax. All right, I hope this helps you guys design the perfect bourbon and whiskey room for you. Until next time, cheers, everybody.
Then